Good morning, everyone. Good morning. First of all, I want to thank everyone who was able to be with us today. We're joined by representatives from over 20 organizations, including the Archdiocese of Chicago, BUILD, the Center for Crime Prevention and Control, Chicago Citizens for Change, Cook County Health and Hospital System, Crosswalk, Disciples for Christ Church, Enlace, Chicago, Erie Neighborhood House, Gads Hill Center, Good City, Greater Auburn Gresham Development Corporation, Hope Presbyterian Church, Illinois Coalition Against Handgun Violence, Inner City Muslim Action Network, Interfaith Illinois, Kids Corner, KLEO Center, Latinos Progresando, Mujeres Latinas en Acción, Southwest Organizing Project, St. Pius V Parish, St. Rita Church, Target Area Development Corporation, United Congress of Community and Religious Organizations, Universidad Popular. I particularly want to thank Father Brendan Curran for allowing us to use this wonderful space here at St. Pius. What I said to him was, we don't often have press conferences in places with stained glass windows. Too many times Father Brendan has had the terrible task of presiding over funerals of his parishioners who were victims of gun violence. Please come and join us. Get on this side, there we go. No, that's all right. Actually, I have been to a wake for a young person at this church who was on his way home from work and got shot. And after receiving great care at Stroger Hospital, unfortunately we weren't able to save him. Father Brendan's history is one that happens far too often in churches and other places of worship throughout our city and our county. But it's something that has united many faiths that are here today. Starting today, it will be more expensive to purchase firearms in Cook County. We are imposing a $25 tax on guns purchased within county limits. Other counties and states are following our example and proposing similar measures to stem the gun violence epidemic that's taking place throughout the United States. This is and should remain a national priority. The firearm tax will help deter straw purchasers who buy guns legally and put them in the hands of criminals who can't purchase them on their own. The $60,000 in anticipated revenue will help fund the Cook County Health and Hospital Systems and its world-class trauma unit. So we recently did a study of how many gunshot victims we treated at Stroger, a careful review, and it turned out to be more than our previous estimates. 846 gunshot wound victims were treated at Stroger Hospital last year. That's 30% of the total patients seen in trauma. So more than a quarter of the patients that we see in trauma are gunshot victims. And it costs the taxpayers approximately $52,000 to treat each patient who enters Stroger Hospital with a gunshot wound. This new money will help us provide more resources to our vital public health system. We cannot allow gun violence to become commonplace. Yet the narrative we hear today is that this is part of our culture. It's a narrative that I refuse to accept. Unfortunately, our city has become the focal point of a long overdue debate about the regulation of firearms and the kinds of comprehensive measures that can be taken to put an end to both the causes and the effects of urban violence. That's why, in addition to the firearms tax, we've pushed through other common sense gun safety regulations, including a fine of up to $2,000 for those who fail to report the loss or transfer or sale of a gun. And we've provided violence reduction program funding at the local level to help communities take back the streets. I know this tax will not unilaterally solve the violence issue that we face in Chicago and Cook County, but it's a piece of the puzzle. The people in Cook County that I am standing with today know that. And I believe the people of Cook County understand that we need to take a holistic approach to reducing this lamentable and ultimately preventable onslaught of violence. We owe it to ourselves and to the families of the victims that I'm here with today to fight to strengthen our neighborhoods and eradicate the root causes of violence. I'm prepared to work with whoever is ready to create a compassionate, stable, and effective criminal justice system.
The victims whose families are represented here today, this is the driving force that has helped the Cook County Board of Commissioners enact legislation which seeks to hold people accountable for the use of firearms. It is a measure that seeks to get illegal guns off of our streets. These guns are very frequently purchased in suburban Cook County and utilized to create mayhem and suffering among families such as those that are represented here this afternoon. In the 7th District, where we are gathered this morning for this press conference, in the last year alone, in community of Little Village, there were 12 murders due to handguns that were used in the commission of those crimes. And communities like Chicago Lawn and Brighton Park and back of the yards are also afflicted by this type of gun violence. The measure which goes into effect today is an effort to invest in the prevention of these types of crimes that have committed mayhem over the past year, in particular, all over Cook County, but especially in the city. I am very glad to be standing with the moms and the families of those victims, with all the clergy that accompanies us this morning as we seek to make it more expensive to kill people in the county of Cook. Brevemente, esta mañana nos unimos hoy a las víctimas de las familias que han sufrido la violencia callejera debido al uso ilegal de armas de fuego. Este impuesto busca hacerlo más caro matar a una persona. Al mismo tiempo, queremos prevenir la proliferación de armas ilegales que han causado tanto sufrimiento en tantas comunidades en la ciudad de Chicago y en el condado de Cook. Muchísimas gracias.
I am here as an effort to work with the president and many of these organizations, families, to help reduce handgun violence in our communities. I represent one of the districts of the police department that has an overwhelming amount of violence that happens, and that's the 11th Police District of the city of Chicago. We have one of the highest rates of handgun violence in the city of Chicago and in Cook County all over. And so my efforts to be here and support this activity this morning is going to be overwhelming, because I'm going to be on the streets helping to encourage this effort and this work to be shared with families and organizations in my community, as well as Commissioner Garcia has shared with you this morning. I also support the efforts of Students Against Violence while we're wearing orange today. That's why you see us wearing some orange today, because students have now begun to step up and help make the effort that it's time to reduce violence in our communities across the city of Chicago. And so thank you, Madam President, and all of you organizations who are here to support this effort this morning.
1 week ago today, I presided the funeral of Victor Damian, 15-year-old who died on 26th and Spalding as a result of gunshots of simply walking to his best friend's house. The perpetrators approached him on foot and opened fire right in his face. He died the next morning. So, too often, we hear and share the tragedies like this. Just 6 months ago, Javier Merino spent 41 days in intensive care at Cook County Stroger Hospital as a result of gang violence, going simply to continue his way to work. What we are doing and starting today is a reminder to all of us that in order for gang violence and violence on our streets to stop, we need to call attention to it, and we need to act collectively. We are proud at St. Pius to be gathered with a number of representatives of different faith communities, above all led by so many stories of courageous victim families who are willing to share their story yet again, their tragedy of sadness yet again, in order to remind us that this must stop. We are proud of the commissioners at Cook County. We are proud that they are calling to mind that this senseless violence must cease in our midst. $25 of tax is such a small token for what is happening in breaking apart our families, our youth, and our own future. We stand with you. We accompany you, and we must stop this together. Thank you.
Colleen Daly, I'm with the Illinois Council Against Handgun Violence. And on behalf of the thousands of victims and individuals and concerned citizens that we represent, I want to say thank you, President Preckwinkle, and the commissioners for your leadership on this extremely important issue. Gun violence claims the lives of roughly 1,000 individuals in the state of Illinois every single year, and Cook County bears the burden of that. While the nation's gun industry reaps $12 billion per year and invests millions upon millions of dollars in lobbyists to fight against common sense gun control laws, leaders such as President Preckwinkle are asking the right question: who pays the price? We pay the price, the taxpayers in Cook County. We are paying most dearly with the lives of innocent young children, and most recently even a 6-month-old child that was caught in the crossfire. However, we're also paying with our taxpayer dollars. The gun epidemic is not only bankrupting the future of our children, it's also taking a toll on valuable government resources needed to prevent it. According to the University of Chicago Crime Lab, Chicago taxpayers pay $2.5 billion per year in gun violence. Precious taxpayer dollars are being drained every single day to pay the health care costs and societal costs associated with gun violence. But this also does not limit our ability to invest in education, youth violence prevention programs, and other ways to prevent it. By passing this firearm tax, President Preckwinkle and the Cook County Board took an important step in making sure that the gun industry is held accountable for the damage caused by their products. I think we can all agree that the money that we are getting from this tax is a far better investment than the millions of dollars the gun industry is using to lobby against us, both here in Illinois, on the county level, and nationally. So I want to thank you, President Preckwinkle, for your leadership. We look forward to working with you as we go forward. Thank you.
My name is Yolande Henry. I am the mother of Nova Henry and the maternal grandmother of Ava Sophia Henry Curry. On January 24th of 2009, they were brutally gunned down inside their home by a person now awaiting sentencing after being unanimously convicted of being guilty in Cook County Holding Facility. They were shot in cold blood, not accidentally and not randomly, and certainly not without malice. Upon examining an autopsy report, it was discovered that they were shot with a Bersa 380 pistol, better known as the carry conceal model, which has the capacity of a 15-round bullet shot off. Nova and Ava stood there, and they never had a chance against the bullets that rained upon them as they were defenseless in their attack. I am here today to speak for my daughter, Nova Henry, her daughter, Ava Sophia Henry Curry, and a multitude of other victims that have been killed previously and afterwards. We all know that gun laws, common sense or otherwise, may never change the minds of those that insist on owning guns. However, any type of deterrence in obtaining a gun or ammunition is an effort put forth to stop the epidemic of gun violence happening in our city and other municipalities nationwide. Statistics show the rage against the system that now claims many lives. Statistics show the rise in violence within the urban dwellings as well as rural areas. Statistics show how the taxes may not affect the stopping of gun violence. But what the statistics do not show are the many mothers, fathers, siblings, family members, and friends that are left to grieve and mourn because of the gun killings. We are real. We stand up and support this gun tax in Cook County. We live daily without our loved ones. We don't grieve statistics. We live with the fallout of not having the tools in place that could possibly save other lives. If just one life is saved due to the gun taxes, then one is good. Of course, the bean counters wouldn't know that, not at least until they have had the chance to stand and live in our shoes. Thank you on behalf of CCC and other victims of gun violence.